to work or college by walking, biking, carpooling, or taking public transit, Go Sonoma has implemented a rewards program for any Sonoma County commuter to earn points for choosing sustainable alternative travel options for their commute to work or school.
I live near Good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Public Utilities for the City of Santa Rosa to order. If we may have a roll call, please.
Board Member Wright.
Here.
Board Member Mullen.
Here.
Board Member DeWitt.
Here.
Board Member Bartholow. Here. Board Member Badenfort.
Here.
Vice Chair Arnone.
Here.
And Chair Galvin.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all board members are present.
Thank you. Do we have any statements of abstention by board members? Seeing none, we have no study sessions. We have minutes for the October 2nd meeting, and I believe Director Burke has an announcement.
Yes, thank you, Chair Galvin. We were informed that we have a typo on the minutes before you. This is in the director's report. Sorry, I thought I had it up on my screen. In the summary for the director's report, which I believe is item 14, there's a typo that says we anticipate getting approximately $2.30 from the federal government, and it should be $2.3 million, not $2.30. So if someone would like to note that they are moving, or you're considering approving these as amended.
That's great. So we'll now take public comments on the approval of the minutes. If anybody has any comments, please move to the podium. Seeing no one rise, the minutes with that correction will be entered for the October 2nd, 2025 meeting. We'll move now to item 6.1, which is our solo staff briefing. Director Burke.
Thank you, Chair Galvin and members of the board. Our staff briefing today will be the annual water loss overview, and Teresa Godino, Sustainability Representative, will be making the presentation.
Good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you, Director Burke. Good afternoon, Chairman Galvin and members of the board. Today I'll be presenting on water loss, what it is, why it matters, and how Santa Rosa is managing it. I'll start by defining what water loss is. In really simple terms, water loss is the difference between the water that's supplied, so in our case, the water that we receive from the water agency in our own groundwater production wells, and the water that's billed and authorized. And it includes two types of losses. It includes apparent losses, and apparent losses is water that is used but not measured, and this could be due to metering inaccuracies or billing issues. And then there's real water losses, and these are actual physical losses from breaks and leaks in the system. And both of these types of losses are important for us because while apparent losses affects revenue, real losses affects revenue, and it's water that is wasted. So understanding what water loss is only one component of water loss and what we'll be discussing today. The other key item to understand is what regulations drive water loss. So I'll be talking about that. And what you see here is the Senate Bill 555, and that requires that utilities report on water loss audits on a yearly basis. And we've been doing that in Santa Rosa since 2017. And the purpose of that audit is to track and reduce leaks and data errors in our system. Assembly Bill 1668 and Senate Bill 606 requires that we report on our urban water use objective, and that has a water loss component to that. And these regulations are important, and it really shows how it affects how we're reporting water loss. So due to these regulations, we're doing yearly checkups on our system, so we're doing the water loss audits. We're managing and following our state performance standards, which I'll be talking to you a little bit more later on. And we know that we're in compliance with that. And we know that staying on track is going to help us keep costs down and build customer trust. But water loss is more than just compliance. For us internally as a utility, the water loss audit and the information we gather through that is important for tracking how much revenue we're losing due to leaks in our system. It's a really good planning tool for us if we're able to identify areas that maybe we can target infrastructure projects. Maybe there's areas where we're seeing lots of leaks or breaks in the system. Perhaps that would be a good area to work on a capital project. And it also adds customer value. If we're telling our customers that they have to save water, and we're doing our part to save water, to track down where those leaks are at, so repairing them, and taking care of our system, it really adds credibility to the state, our boards, and our customers, knowing that we're doing our part to responsibly manage the system. So I mentioned the water loss audit earlier. In this slide, I'll be talking about the process and what we do in Santa Rosa to comply with the requirement to gather the data for the audit. So the audit is a lengthy process. It takes several months for us to collect billing data, supply reports. There's a lot of coordination that goes on between different departments to collect all this data. Once we collect all the data from the different departments, then we're verifying that the information that we received from our billing departments, from our reports, that data is validated and is backed up with support from operations team and the way we manage our system. So we run a quality check and confirm that the information is valid. We compile that information into the American Water Works Association workbook entry. So there's a lot of numbers going into the workbook. And then once the information is compiled, it's submitted to a third-party validator who reviews the inputs in the workbook entry and all the documentation that the city provides to support the entries. So once it's validated, then it goes to Department of Water Resources for submittal, and then the state collects the information, which I'll be talking more about what they do with some of that information. So I mentioned the state performance standards earlier. What you see here is the gallons per service connection per day. Sorry, it's a handful. It's a lot of GPS CDs. But what you see here is data from 2017 to 2020, which are the lighter blue bars. That data is from our water loss audits, and the state looked at that information, and they determined that Santa Rosa had an assigned state performance standard of 17.1 gallons per service connection per day. What does that mean? Well, it just means that we have to be in compliance with that number by 2028. And when we look at our actual GPSCD, these are the darker blue lines here from 2021 to 2024, we know that we're in compliance with the state performance standard. In fact, we're below the state performance standards that was assigned to Santa Rosa. Currently, we're about 14 gallons per service connection per day, and the state has assigned the 17.1. So we know that our leak detection program is working. We're doing our part to make sure that we have a really tight system and we're addressing leaks, and we are able to show that by looking at the data through our water loss audits. So what you have here is a comparison of water loss compared to water supply. As you can see, based on how much water we actually receive, our water loss is very, very small. And despite the small amount of water loss, we have a very proactive leak program, and we have a great team that continues to work on that, and that as a result, you could see that we're meeting our standards and we're doing a great job on that end. So some of the financial impacts from our 2024 water loss audit, which by the way hasn't been validated yet, but we have finished the audit and we know we're confident in the numbers. We're scheduled for validation in November, so it's coming up pretty closely. But what we've gathered from the 2024 water loss audit is that we're able to reduce our water losses by about 100 million gallons compared to 2023. And that's a savings of about $400,000. And what I mean by savings, it's avoided revenue loss when we compare it to 2023. So we know that staying on top of the leaks and replacing old service lines is going to help keep cost and water use under control. So what's next for us? Well, we're due for an update to some questionnaires, one in 2026, another one in July of 2027. Then we are in line for the state performance standards, which is due in 2028, and we know we're meeting those targets. We also have a leak registry that's due in July of 2029, but we're gathering data for that registry currently. And where we stand, well, we know Santa Rosa is in its really strong position. We are already ahead of the state's requirements. We're meeting our state performance standards. And we know the real losses are the biggest driver of cost, and if we can control those, then we're able to drive costs down. And we know that our leak detection program and repairs are paying off for our system. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Very good presentation. I'll open it up for any board member questions or comments. Board Member Wright.
Thank you for the presentation. Very good. One question, maybe you said it and I didn't hear it, but what is the overall percentage of water loss this year?
I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's definitely less than 1%. Yeah, I don't have that exact percentage.
Less than 1% though. That's
Yes.
very small, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Other questions? Board Member Mullen.
Thank you. Very good presentation. I appreciate the information
Thank you,
you
Paul.
shared with us. A couple of questions about the process. The legislation establishes regulations and standards. Every year when you're required to submit, I presume, and do we get something back from them that says, congratulations, you made your mark, or do we have to toot that horn ourselves?
No, we do get an acknowledgement that they've received the water loss audit, but we don't. It's not like, oh, congratulations, you met the state performance or the standards. In our case, it's just a confirmation that they've received the water loss audit.
The reason I ask is that we're always looking for good news, and good news is great to share with people, particularly in today's society. So I would encourage us to take that data and put it in our newsletter that goes out, and just sharing with people that, you know, we're doing a great job. And I think we deserve, you and your staff and the rest of the staff deserves all the credit for that, because they're doing the heavy lifting to meet those standards. So I would encourage you to do that. With respect to the reporting requirements, how do they report like firefighting water and water we use to flush the system and so forth? Is that accounted for in this analysis?
Yes, it is accounted for. So we have a section for non-revenue water. So it's accounted for, but we don't get money for it, right? So it's part of the calculation that's included in the water loss audit, for sure, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Board Member Bartholow.
Thank you, Chair Galvin. Thank you for the presentation. I'm just curious about the 17.1 gallons per service connection per day.
Yeah.
How often does that change? How often do they reassess that?
Well, our first reporting deadline is 2028, and then every 3 years, or in 3 years after that, we'll be reporting. So it's possible that they may reassess that after 3 years, but currently it's a 17.1 for Santa Rosa. We know that on average, utilities in California are about between 30 to 40 gallons per service connection per day. So Santa Rosa is already doing exceptionally well compared to other utilities in the state, and we anticipate being in compliance 2028 and forward.
Thank you, well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Vice Chair Arnone?
Thank you for the report. Following up on what Matt said, that number surprises me, how much lower our assigned limit is than the average across the state. That's a piece of good news that I would like to see, trumpeted for all the good work. And I'll just add anecdotally, sometime in this past year, I was just saying goodbye to a gentleman that was in my house fixing a water leak, and I got a call from the city saying, "Did you know you had a water leak?" So, I mean, the program is really working, and it's in real time. I mean, I've had proof of it in my house. So, kudos and good job to you and your staff.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we do continue to see improvement on that end.
I would also encourage the board members and the public to look at the portal that you have established with the city where you can actually set a limit on your usage. And if you go over that in a day, you're going to get a nasty email the next morning. Not nasty, but a reminder that you went over your allotment for the day.
Yeah, so that real-time data is very, very useful for sure for our customers.
Great. Any other board member questions or comments? All right, we'll open it up for public comment on item number 6.1. If you wish to make a comment, please move to the podium. Seeing no one rise, thank you again for the presentation.
Thank you.
We have 3 items on the consent calendar.
I'll move adoption of the consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll open it up now for public comment on the consent calendar. If anybody wishes to make a comment, please do so. Seeing no one rise, we have a motion and a second. We have a roll call vote, please.
Board Member Wright?
Aye.
Board Member Mullen?
Aye.
Board Member DeWitt?
Yes.
Board Member Bartholow?
Aye.
Board Member Badenfort?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnone?
Aye.
And Chair Galvin?
Aye.
Okay, let the record reflect the consent calendar passes unanimously.
Very good. We have no report items. So we'll move to public comment on non-agenda matters. If you wish to make a comment, please move to the podium. Seeing no one rise. We have no referrals and no written communications. I don't believe we have any subcommittee reports. I don't think any of the subcommittees have met. I know we're in the process of trying to schedule a contract review subcommittee meeting. So any board member reports?
I'd like to give one.
Yes, Board Member
Yes,
DeWitt.
on Saturday, the 25th of October, at 10 in the morning at Roseland Creek, there'll be a community cleanup of the creek, and a lot of people will be there. It's an excellent opportunity for people here in this forum to come and see how the community tries to help with our stormwater situations. So I know it's a different department perhaps, but I'm of the mind all water is good water, and it's good to know where the water goes. So if you have a chance, come to the Roseland Creek cleanup on Make a Difference Day, October 25th at 10 in the morning, Burbank Avenue, across from Roseland Creek Elementary School.
Thank you for letting us know. We'll now open it up for public comment on item number 13, board member reports. Anybody wish to comment? Seeing none, we'll move to item 14, which is our director's report.
Thank you, Chair Galvin and members of the board. I'm actually going to ask that our Assistant City Manager jump in at the start to give an update on the Calpine 65th anniversary recognition. And I'm going to grab an award that we got that's very heavy, so we'll see if we pass it around. But I was going to ask Assistant City Manager, he was able to attend. Unfortunately, I was on vacation and couldn't attend, but it was a great event, and he's going to give a few words about it.
Thank you, Director Burke, Chair Galvin, members of the board. It was a pleasure to be able to represent the City of Santa Rosa, Board of Public Utilities, and the Water Department at the Calpine 65th anniversary of the Geysers Project. This particular event was co-sponsored by Constellation. As you may be aware, Constellation is in the process of co-joining with Calpine on the Geysers project moving forward. And it was an event that gave Constellation an opportunity to celebrate the great successes that Calpine has seen and express the excitement that they have on becoming a partner moving forward. The event itself was very well attended. I was there with Deputy Director Mike Prinz, representing the city and the department, and the Executive Vice President of Operations for Calpine was very gracious in his statements relating to the partnership that the city has with Calpine to supply water to the geysers for the production of clean energy. And this award was granted to the city specifically for that purpose, to express their sincere appreciation for our partnership and looking forward to additional partnerships into the future. While the Chief Executive Officer for Constellation didn't call us out specifically by name, he did reference the value and importance of partnerships that Calpine has created and generated to make this such a successful, ongoing clean energy supply and generation facility. And so great event, had a number of dignitaries present, including Senator McGuire and Assemblymember Rogers from our region, and really expressed a ton of appreciation for Santa Rosa's partnership. So thank you for allowing me to provide a quick update.
Thanks for the report. I'm sorry I missed the event. Director Burke.
Thank you. And I just want to note, pardon me, I just want to thank the board and the council and previous boards and councils that really helped show the leadership to continue with this partnership, which is great. The other thing I wanted to provide an update to the board on is that recently we are very close to getting the Colgan Creek project, where it's getting closer. So we're very excited to let folks know that phase 3 of our Lower Colgan Creek project, the contractor removed the cofferdam on Saturday prior to the rain and completed the in-stream work for phase 3 restoration. They're going to continue to work on the gravel roads, concrete pathway, and site stabilization outside the creek area as weather allows. And then the Laguna Foundation will begin planting the entire site this winter and spring. I think we have a few pictures that we can share, starting with an overview from a drone photo and a couple other shots just to show the great work. We're really excited. Phase 3 is the last phase and the joining phase of this restoration project for Colgan Creek. And then hopefully in the spring, we should be doing a recognition and ribbon cutting event. So these are just a couple pictures to share with the board, and great work by the Stormwater and Creeks team and by our CIP teams for getting this project going and in place. And that's our report, or I guess my report, with an addition from the Assistant City Manager, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the director or the Assistant City Manager? Board Member Wright?
One question, is all the work done in the creek bed itself, or do they still have to go back next year for more?
So I know the project manager, Greg Dwyer, is here. My understanding from Stormwater and Creeks is that all work in the creek was completed, but he probably has the firsthand knowledge if you want to add to that. I may have misinformation, but that's what the team let me know.
Good afternoon, Greg Dwyer, Capital Project Engineering. You're correct, Director Burke. We are mostly complete. We've got the creek channel completed. In-stream work is done. We were required to be out of the creek by October 15th, so we just barely made it. Our contractor stepped up. We did a few long nights, a couple of Saturdays, and we're able to complete the work. Now, what's left is what's outside the creek. the creek channel, which is still subject to other permitting requirements, but we're able to get extensions beyond that as well to complete that. And as long as we're keeping an eye on specifically California tiger salamanders and rain and the effects on them. So what's left? We have a Class 1 multi-use pathway, and we also have a maintenance road that Sonoma Water uses to maintain their creek. And one thing that was left out, we have a pedestrian bridge, which is pretty cool. The abutments are in, and I think on the 29th, it's going to be, we have 2 cranes that are scheduled to come in and pick it up and set it on the abutments. And that's going to provide connectivity for the community to get across the creek and down into the business parks and so forth, and also eventually, hopefully, out to Hearn one day. But that's about it.
Well, congratulations. These deadlines are hard to make. And had you not made it, you would have really been in a mess with the rain.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the director's report? Yes, go ahead, Board Member.
Yes, sir. I was curious about the lumber that's in there. What type of wood was used to go in there, and how long do you think that's going to last?
Mr. Dwyer, do you know? I know we had a number of different logs and specified the wood, but I don't have that detail.
Trees that were cut down, those were stumps you guys put in, right?
Actually, they were stumps and trees, and most of them were from fire areas.
Okay.
So they were salvaged. Redwood specifically is what we were looking for, but we also allowed Doug fir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And then they'll be planting more trees along there, have a riparian corridor in the future and all that good stuff.
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of trees will be going.
Nothing but a good time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? We'll now open it up for public comment on item number 14, the director's report. If you wish to make a comment, please move to the podium. Seeing no one rise, that concludes our agenda for today. We almost made a record, I think.
You're under a half hour. That's good.
Yeah, so we are adjourned.
In our eyes, firefighting isn't just a job, it's a calling. One of the noblest professions in the world. Here in Santa Rosa, we take immense pride in what we do. We believe in 3 fundamental qualities that not only define us, but also shape our future. Honesty. Honesty isn't just about telling the truth. It's about being true to yourself and others. It's about acknowledging your weaknesses